Hello there. I'm gonna be going over my current, well, the current team really that got the best results for me on Apocalypse 3. Actually, technically that is not true. There's one other try that I did that gets to 41k, but I didn't record it, and I do not remember how I got to that. And I very likely think it was probably just RNG. It did involve Beelzebub, if I recall correctly, to give inspiration to basically everyone on the field. But it was very gimmicky, um, and this one seems to work somewhat more consistently. In any case, the real reasoning that I'm following here is basically esotericist because we kind of need, we definitely need Valara, right? Valara is such a massive freaking benefit to this that it's not even close and it's not even funny. This is comparable to having a high awakened Kong or Kagiri for Abyss 1. That's really it. Her knockback plus her damage plus her slows, like it's just insane. Um, the other two elements of this are simply that Aeris is good. Right? Anyone talking shit about my Birdman, uh, I screw you. Right? The Aeris is very, very good. Period. That's not a debate. He has magic vulnerability. He has slows, and he does pretty good AoE damage. If you're not already using him in Malrix, you should probably consider doing it. Because I use this guy in Malrix, and I've been using him in Apocalypse 3, and he does good. The next thing is just Cyrus. Cyrus, because Cyrus is critical for this, in that he has his skeletons that he can spawn pretty much at will, that will give him the damage reduction that is needed to survive the slams on this fight. Now, that's the reasoning for Esotericist. Cultist is, well, you're talking about AoE. You can't really run AoE without Cultist in a consistent, reasonable manner. In magic damage, more importantly. So, Anora, because, well, Anora's great. And I am very, very, very happy that on my main account I have Anora A5, because she's phenomenal for this. Then the follow-up next best person is going to be Beatrix. And if you have a Beatrix, if you have a Beatrix, I think it's A3. Let me just take a quick look here. Yeah, Beatrix A3 is going to be totally busted for this because this, right? It's already pretty good. There's constantly going to be enemies dying in her range, and having an extra one each time, well, having an extra one occasionally and having an extra one on the ultimate is pretty nuts for this content. So, no, that's not what I want to do. All this to say that the main reasoning for this lineup is really just Valara, Beatrix, Anora, and Aeris. Well, obviously, the survival champions, but damage-wise, those are the main ones. Morrigan is just there for the Lord bonus. Although if you are one of the people who has her A5, she's probably going to be very good. At lower awakenings, she's probably just going to suck. She's a lord. That's kind of what we're stuck with. Maybe the new Coldest Lord is actually going to be much more interesting. We'll have to see. Vierna is a nice added damage dealer. Words hard morning. And Magda buffs everyone around her. And we do need damage reduction and AoE damage reduction. It's not really negotiable because it stacks up quick and people will die. Even with HP subs and everything that's needed, just people will die. And we're kind of going to get right into this so I can show you a bit how the fight works and how this team performs. So, very first priority. What did they do? They changed the map. Man. Really? They changed the map. Are you shitting me? What the why? Well, I don't know how this team is going to perform then. How much else of this did they change? Well, this is interesting. That is curious to say the least. We're going to try to stick to what we had before as close as possible. But he fully changed the map. What a bunch of twits. Oh man. Okay, so Beatrix is going to have to be here. That tracks. I wonder if they change the values then. I might have to redo all my videos. That's going to be annoying. Because this is not the same map at all. Oh well. I don't even know if... Okay, hold on. Hold on. Sorry, hold on. This kind of throws a wrench in my plans here. Valara's gonna have to be there. That's guaranteed. Okay, Beatrix needs her invigoration buff, so she is going to be there. Anora is going to be here, because the strongest damage dealer we have on the left side is going to be Valara, on the right side, Anora. Then we're going to toss in... I'm kind of curious as to... I think we're going to have to place Morrigan here, Vierna here. That's what seems to make the most sense. Now my biggest problem is going to be figuring out I think that means I want Magda here now. Aeris here. And then I'm going to place Cyrus right here, facing left, so we can place his skeletons when needed. And we're kind of just going to pop the auto ults for now. And hold on. Let's go to overall statistics. Alright. This is a terrible view. Alright, so you can see a few things. We have those stacks that start building up, which each time he does one of his big AoE hits will apply. They're very, I think it's like 1% of your HP every, occasionally. It doesn't really matter much initially, but it will build up fairly quickly and starts being a huge problem at like roughly 4 stacks of the boss. This is fascinating though. Why did they change it? You can see, right, Valara over here doing the pushbacks and Magda over there doing her knockbacks are very helpful. Anora applying some slow and freezes via Winter's Bite is also very valuable. And then just simply Aeris being able to do that slow as a last-ditch effort to kill stuff before they reach the boss is, again, very, very valuable. And Aeris is probably going to be fairly low on the damage counter because usually when the map was differently set up, he was placed also differently. And this was wildly, this was not at all the same setup and how it worked. So I don't know what the end result of this is going to be. I think up to 2 and change stacks, we kind of don't really care about. We don't really need to care about anything in terms of timings. It starts becoming a bit more of a problem at 3 stacks, where we need to actually pay attention to what we're doing. But that's an assumption that I had based on what I knew before. I don't know if that's even still the case. Yeah, Aeris is doing almost nothing now, which I am slightly disappointed in because he was phenomenal in this before. I may have to revisit slightly how everyone is placed and have Magda being more beneficial because she is, for example, not buffing. I believe she is buffing Aeris, yes, but and Beatrix, but she's not buffing Anora, so I may need to somewhat tweak stuff. But as you can see, right, we're kind of cruising through this reasonably well. We're not really going to have too many problems for now. I am going to remove the auto, however, as we get... I don't think there's enough time left on Relentless Evolution to make it worth to pop Anora's ultimate, so I'm just going to sit through this. Aeris is already running his, so he's slowing down these guys anyways, and you have a bit more wiggle room to work with. Now, here's where we need to start timing things more intelligently. You want to try to keep some ultimates always ready, but you also don't want stuff to pile up too much because that will cause issues. Annihilation Pulse is fine, we can let that go in. Left side is struggling a bit more with the new placements. Okay, Focus Strike is coming in. We want to pop that skeleton on Cyrus. Skeleton's going to get immediately annihilated. I don't know if you saw that damage, but it is pretty high. Here we're going to pop Beatrix and Valara. It's going to normally handle both sides reasonably well. Looks like we're going to need our Magda over here. Go. Cyrus, Focus Strike. We don't have the skeleton out. See his life right there? He's gone. So, this is sadly not the attempt I wanted to show, because the damn map changed. So I guess I will be working on this a bit more when it's actually on the live server. I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time tryharding here because I'm already going to have to do that on the live server anyways, and there's a reason I have done it before. It's because I had time to do it before. But this rough team used to be hitting 40k. Now it's not. And the map changed significantly. This may actually lead to different comps that are possible. And basically invalidates any theory crafting and testing I had done before, and probably that most people did before. I don't know how recent this is. It would be nice, if we had some communication of updates to the test server, but apparently that's not a thing. So here we are. I will not be saving this just because I'd like to see if there's a good way to get 40k. But we will take a quick look at the damage report, right? Aeris is now virtually worthless. So I take back what I said at the beginning. He's probably better off replaced with someone else. Who that would be, I'm not sure yet, but as you can see, right, we have Valara and Anora performing very highly, and the other two right behind are Beatrix and Vierna. It's likely that slotting in a comet, I don't know the hell I'm supposed to pronounce that, is now maybe more valuable. I'm not sure. This layout is not what most people were planning on having, and it's not what should have happened. I'm pretty sure that this basically entirely invalidates my physical team that I was using. So I will reconsider and tweak that a bit before I actually do the video for the physical team. But this should give you a rough idea of what is possible. And, right, the gear here is not crazy. We have Cyrus running Tempered Will and tank stuff. Like, these aren't nutty values. That's only 120,000 life. We are running a Watchguard's Unity. Valara is just running Cataclysm, Wicked Vengeance, and this Wicked Vengeance isn't even full quads. Does have a maxed out exclusive, however. Aeris is just running some Warlord Soulbound Arcana. Morrigan, some Cataclysm, Wicked Vengeance. I'm not even sure. That has... Okay, Morrigan has 2 quads. For some reason, I put them on her. Just because I think she was doing so little damage that she needs something. Anora is A5, however, running decently good gear. But again, this isn't crazy stuff either. Vierna is running Cataclysm and Wicked Vengeance. Magda running Infernal War, Wicked Vengeance. And Beatrix running Cataclysm, Wicked Vengeance, right? Again, I stress this point, none of this gear is crazy off the charts. It's somewhat reasonable gear that I would expect most endgame players to have at this point. So, yeah, I kind of wish this had been done differently and I had more time to actually prep for the map change, but even on the screenshot, as you can see here, this is still the previous map. So I don't know when they changed the actual map layout. But they did. So I guess the version we're going to get tonight is the version that I just showed you and not the previous one. Here we are. Yeah. Cheers, and you have a nice one.